welcome to Write and Speak Better podcast with your host, Olaleka Mandela. Today we want to interview an inspiring public speaker from the Global Women Network. But before I mention a name, let me ask you a question. Have you ever had a reason of doing a particular thing? Have you sat down and say, I am doing this because I took this particular decision? Oh, I want to be a lawyer because I want to help people. Or, I am going to college because I want to join UNICEF to help children in Africa. Well, I leave you with these questions to ruminate while I introduce an amazing guest for today, LAURIE G. Curtis. She will be speaking on that question she asked herself before diving into public speaking. Let's go for this short break and we'll be back with an inspiring session with LAURIE G. Curtis. Please stay tuned.
Hello, LAURIE Curtis. How are you doing this evening?
I'm doing well. How are you?
I am great. I love your energy, and it's so glad to have you on Write and Speak Better podcast. So much honor, so much. I mean, I could get this for $1,000. I mean,
Very good.
Yes, it's so nice to meet the amazing LAURIE Curtis. Thank you so much for honoring our invite. I won't want to do the introduction for you. I would like you to do your introduction yourself. So please make an introduction of yourself. Who is LAURIE Governor Curtis and what do you do? The Write and Speak Better podcast listeners would like to meet you.
Yes, wonderful. So my name is LAURIE Governor Curtis. I do live in the United States. I live in Maryland. By day, I am the Director of Operations for a global education and advising company. I have over 20 years experience managing, coaching, and mentoring students, teachers, and staff. I am also an author. I'm so excited about that. Co-author in a book called What Now Mindset, Volume 1, where I speak about my choice. So I am excited for the opportunity to chat with you today and to speak with your audience.
Amazing. Absolutely love what you do. But why public speaking? You seems to be doing fine without that.
That is such a great question. So I would say it was born out of, I guess, most public speakers out of their experience. And I have a unique experience, my story of hope and resilience in the face of trauma and adversity. My daughter was diagnosed when she was 3 with autism, and my husband was murdered in a robbery attempt. So out of that, I've been able to move forward, raise amazing kids. So just the resilience and the hope that I garnered out of that resulted in people asking me, how are you doing it, LAURIE? Why are you so centered and grounded? And I felt that having the opportunity to share with others that despite what you might face or encounter in life, you have a choice in how you respond to it. So in my case, I chose to respond by hope and understanding that I would get through it and get to the other side.
That was such a powerful and very inspiring story. So are you trying to say that you dive into public speaking just because you want to share your story for the people out there so that they can learn and navigate life in a more easier way?
I would say yes, that I think we have a tendency to suffer in silence. And I think that the more that you can share your trials and situations that come up and how you've overcome that, I think that's beneficial to others and will let people know that they're not alone. So if I can do it, I can let you know that you can do it. So I just want to share that good news that it's possible to continue to move forward despite some of the challenges that you might face.
Yeah. So how do you combine the two? Please let me just get this straight. How do you combine the two? I mean, your coaching experience with the public speaking, and also I would like to ask you that why can't you just write a book about it? Why do you have to go through public speaking? What is that exact thing that made you think this is gonna work through public speaking rather than just writing a book about it? I know you've written a book before, but you still do public speaking. So why that?
I think it's important to be able to connect with the writer, if you will. Sure, I could just write a book and you can read it, but I think it says something when you can engage and interact with the writer of the book. So speaking about the information, I think that that will allow for the audience, the reader, to engage with the writer and get a better sense of what the writer has gone through, and just share that sense of hope. Certainly, the book is on a specific issue or topic, but it can be expanded across all areas of your life. So, how is that possible? So, you asked about marrying the two. I think you will. Some of the things that I've dealt with and gone through, I've been able to translate that in other areas of my life. As an example, I was a student athlete in college, and I was able to, at the end of my career at the University of Richmond, go Spiders, I ended up in the Hall of Fame as a player and as a coach. A lot of the life lessons that I learned on the court are things that I integrate into my life. And it's part of
Mm,
why and what makes me the person that I am. And I'm able to share and marry the two together so that I can again share hope and resilience, hard work, and let people know what that's all about.
amazing. That seems like a lot. Amazing. So while you were speaking about these last question I asked you, you were saying something like engagement. So I would like to ask a question. We all know that motivational speaking has a lot to do with engagement of the audience, especially live audience. So how do you engage your audience, especially the live audience? How do you engage them? How do you know, oh yes, this is working. Oh yes, I get them in the mood. Oh yes, they are ready to listen.
Absolutely. I think engagement, and coming from an education company where we're teaching students in the classroom, engagement is huge. You want to make sure that they're understanding the information that you're sharing with them. So you can't see me now, but I'm very animated. My hands are going. I'm excited. And that's part of it. You can change your tone. You can ask questions. I'm also a visual person, so I love me a PowerPoint presentation just for the visual learners. So you need to understand how people learn, and some are auditory, some are visual. So if you sprinkle in a little bit of each, that will allow for the audience to get engaged. I think asking questions are huge. If you ask a question, that will test their knowledge of the information that you are presenting and or sharing, and then getting their feedback as well. Get them engaged, have
Exactly.
polls. All of those things are different, are things that you will enhance the engagement of the session that you're doing.
Amazing. That's cool. I mean, I love that. So, right before I asked this question, you were talking about Hall of Fame in basketball.
Yes.
So
Mhm.
you were also talking about your 20 years of experience. So along the 20 years, have you quit basketball or you're still doing it, or how do you see yourself with it? And besides, how does the discipline of sports translate in business, both in your coaching business, your public speaking business? How do you manage?
Sure. So I am no longer playing basketball with the
Why?
knee issue. I can't. Well, I'm not currently actively playing. I'll go to the court and maybe shoot around, but it is something that I absolutely miss. And when I get the opportunity to either go to a game or shoot around, I enjoy
Mm,
myself. I
exactly.
think sports is a wonderful way to build team building skills. As a director of operation, I work with a team of 5 people, and I also have cross functional partners that I work with as well. You all have to work together, you have to collaborate. And I think playing a sport, you learn those skills that it takes a team to win a game. It's not just you. You could be a great scorer, but if you're scoring and no one else is doing anything and you're not helping your teammates, you're not going to go very far. So the
Yeah.
discipline of, particularly when I was in college, this practicing to get to college. And then once you're in college, you're managing how to
Team
go to your
building.
classes, you're managing playing your games, your classwork, your tests, when you travel. So time management is also a factor that is built by
So
playing
all of
sports.
the team management you spoke about and the time management, all of those things you learned when you were still in the basketball has actually helped in the business that you are doing today, right?
Absolutely, those are part of any organization that you're going to be a part of. There you have to work well with others there, so that team building is important, so that you're building a rapport with each other, so that you're feeling safe and comfortable, and that you're working well together. And then time management is so important. If you have certain projects that need to be completed, that you're completing them in a timely manner, as well
Mm.
as just managing all of the things that you have to
Uh-huh.
do. All of that came directly out of my involvement with sports.
Wow, amazing. So I just want to chip in something. When we started this podcast, you talked about your experience of 20 years. I kept wondering, 20 years is such a long year. So how do you feel about the industry? I mean, the coaching, the speaking, and the journalism industry today. I mean, how would you compare them with then and now? I mean, and how do you cope with them? How do you cope with the change, with everything, with the involvement?
Sure, I think you need to have a growth mindset. Things are going to change all the time, and I think as part of building your speaking business, you need to make adjustments. I think that's part of growth. If you're not open to change, you're going to get left behind. So it's important that you are willing to be transparent, to be open, to be flexible in
Hmm,
what's going
flexible.
on, uh, to allow for you to continue to grow and to develop your business. And part of that is that education part of it. The business is not like it was 20 years ago. There are different resources and technology that you can now use that will enhance your business, your speaking business, that wasn't available before. So you have a lot of opportunity to hear from other speakers, learn and grow from other speakers, more information that's out there, and you need to take full advantage of that. So just being flexible and open to change, I think that that's going to benefit your business.
Amazing. Thank you so much. So, um, if you had to start all over again, what would you have done differently? You have to start from the scratch again. What would you have done differently?
Probably started sooner and narrowed the focus. I think we have a tendency, or let me actually speak for myself, you have a
Wait,
tendency to want to prepare
oh,
and
sorry,
prepare.
sorry, sorry. Excuse me, before you continue, I don't know why, but most of the veteran speakers we've been inviting to Write and Speak Better podcast, when we ask them, what would you have done differently if you had to start from the scratch? They always make reference to starting sooner. And I always
Oh,
wonder, why do you think you have to start sooner? Don't you think this is the perfect time you've started on what? So I'm quite surprised you are also saying the same thing.
so why I would say that is I've had this in my belly, if you will, something that has been a desire of mine to share my story. And you always think, oh, now is not the time. It's not a good time. Let me move on, or I don't know where to start. I don't know what to do. But I think that, and also you want it to be perfect. And it's not going to be perfect at first. When you speak for the first time, you may not do as well as you would like, and that's okay. And generally, I have
The
found,
first time is always hard.
I'm sorry,
I said the first time is always hard.
absolutely. It's the hardest, and you're probably your worst critic on the first time out. And I think you need to give yourself some grace in knowing that you just started and you're trying. The thing is that you want to keep getting better. So listen to that recording if you can, take notes, and adjust for your next session. So it's about the progress, it's about the journey. You're not going to be a top speaker immediately, but you can get there by just taking the journey and giving yourself some grace if you do things that aren't, as you would say, up to, or you think that might be up to par.
Hmm. Yes, yes. I totally agree with you. So, over the years, what would you say is the most difficult part of being a speaker?
I would say the difficult part, probably on the side of finding opportunities.
Hmm.
That can be difficult, and I think it's about relationship building, building relationships, telling people that you're doing it, um, having given an opportunity to share when you can, and just making people aware and networking, going out and introducing yourself to other people who are in the field, who are doing the things that you want to do, and then reaching out and speaking with them and perhaps asking them to be your mentor. I want to learn this business. Do you have time to speak with me?
Perfectly. So, looking at all of you, looking at looking at all you've said, who is your favorite motivational speaker?
I would say um, I love Les Brown. I took a course that he did with one of my uh, friend who grew up in the same area that I grew up in on speaking, and just hearing him over the years. I've not met him in person, but would love to do so one day. So I would say he's probably top of mind.
Hmm. 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 Oh, amazing. I actually wanted to ask what made you exactly like Lance Brown because I always want to know why a particular speaker cherish another speaker. Is it the way they speak? Is it the way they engage their audience and all of those? But I think you've just fleshed that out.
Sure. I would say the way he uses his story. He has a story. And I think that how he shares that, I think a story can relate to the audience, and they will see you as a genuine person, and then can see their story within your story. So I think just his ability to tell a story, I think is what is endearing to me.
So, Miss Laurie, how do you see yourself in few years from now? I mean, do you plan on getting global? I mean, speaking global, or you just still want to maintain it on a low key, pending the time things are gonna work out their own way? Or you are
I
planning on going global, and what are the plans in few years to come?
Sure. So in the few years, I'd love to continue to develop my craft of speaking. I think there's so much that I still have to learn. And I think that's part of just the growth mindset that we're ever evolving and changing. And growing situations are always different. I think you need to always look to grow. So I'd love to continue to grow and to develop more programs for students and for people that will allow for them to hear my story, and that I will be a bigger impact on their lives and be able to provide clear action steps. I'd love to continue to travel and go globally with this. I would love to write another book. Is what I'm looking at doing as well in the next several
Well,
years.
talking about the book, we are getting there. But first and foremost, I
Mhm.
must say I can't wait to see you breaking limit and traveling the world, doing what you love, and getting rich at it. Yes,
Wonderful.
yes. So, if anyone wants to start public speaking, what would be your advice to them?
I would say start sharing your message to others, and that can come from posting something on your social media accounts, just sharing your thoughts. You can go live and just share your thoughts and give to an audience, to your friends, if you know of any, perhaps a church group, or perhaps a group home that you want to share your story with, volunteer at. Just look at the little opportunities. It doesn't have to be on a big stage in a big auditorium. It can be just the little things. And then as you get your story out there, you become more comfortable with sharing your
Mm,
story. And then you can hone it so that it really begins to then speak to more and more people. But I think you start
mm,
small and begin to grow, and then align yourself with other people that are doing it, and then get the opportunity to perhaps share at that time. So networking, I think, is the biggest thing.
networking and getting started is the ultimate thing for
Hmm.
anyone who wants to start public speaking, right?
That is correct. I would say you are the only one that can tell your story. And if you don't tell it, we're not going to know it or hear it. And you don't know the impact that you could have on people. So, as I said earlier, part of that, oh, now I'm not ready, I'm not ready, I'm not ready. But the world
Mm,
may be ready for you. You just have to jump. You just
mm,
have to go ahead and do
mm,
it.
mm, Thank you so much. Thank you so much for anyone, for all the Write and Speak Better podcast listeners listening to us at this moment. Dr. or Miss Laurie Curtis is telling you, get started and network with others. You need to start small and you will see yourself going big. Thank you so much, Doctor. Um, I would like to ask, I was checking through your bio and I see that you're a member of one of the world-class global well sought after women's organizations, Global Women Speakers. What
Global
about
Women's
it?
Network, yes. I work with that network. I have found it to be, it's part of the networking piece of it. It's part of, you need to be connected with people. I don't believe in reinventing the wheel, if I might say. And what I mean by that is, if someone else is doing it, why not reach out to get some mentoring out of it, to see
Mm,
how they're doing it,
mm,
so that you can then, it may be an easier step for you to get in. You may get more connections. Again, it's about networking. So the Global Women's Network is an organization. It's led by Dr. Tina Lewis. It's a wonderful and amazing opportunity for women to get together, to collaborate, to communicate, and to support each other, to support
mm.
the dreams and the desires that we all have about speaking and about being and doing for others around the world.
I understand. So you mentioned Dr. Tina D. Lewis, and who is she? Is she the founder of the Global Women Speakers, or who is she and what's she like?
She is the founder of the Global Women's Network. I find her
Mm,
to be
okay.
a ball of energy. um,
Wow, what?
she Yes, a ball of energy. She
I
is
was looking.
nonstop. She's excited. when someone when someone is doing something that they love to do, it's not work. And I see that in her, just her excitement and her passion for women and seeing them succeed is beyond what I've seen in a long time. So she's just
Mm,
an amazing person, and it has been exciting. She will
mm.
stretch you, and she has stretched me out of my comfort and taken me out of my comfort zone. But it's for a purpose, and she's definitely purpose driven, and she wants all of the folks, all of the people that she encounters to be successful, and that's a
Wow.
wonderful thing.
Wow. Dr. Tina D. Lewis, thank you so much for what you have done for Global Women's Network. We are really grateful. Of course, I'm not a woman, but
Absolutely.
listening to you, I am really, really happy to know about what she's doing and what the network is all about. So moving forward, you at the beginning of this podcast session, you talked about a book that you wrote. What about it? What is it all about? What was the inspiration behind it? What bet it? And how do you find yourself writing the book?
Sure. So the book came out well, it came to me. The project came to me by accident. It's part of that. I don't want to write a book. Yes, you do. I don't want to write a book. And then I said, okay, I will. So my intentions was to write my own book, and then this project came up to be a contributing author. So I said, okay, well, things are lining up. So let me go ahead and do this. So in the book, my chapter is my choice. And I shared earlier what I feel about choice. I think the word is underrated. And what I mean by that is you truly have the power to choose how you respond to situations that occur in your life.
In a
And
nutshell, you have the power to choose what works for you.
absolutely.
Wow.
And your response to it, and what I mean by that is hearing that my daughter is autistic and that she will need care for the rest of her life. I could have been crushed. I could have been depressed. I could have been just given up. It's a loss. I could have been grieving, but I chose
100%.
instead
To
to
remain
allow for
strong.
her to enjoy her life without any expectations from me. We expect certain things out of our children, our spouses, but there are no expectations. And when I stepped away from that, and the book that I wrote, my chapter is about my daughter. When I stepped away from that and allowed her to be who she is and do what works for her, my whole mindset shifted. And because of that, I'm not fighting up against, oh, she can't do what I want her to do. No, she enjoys Netflix and she enjoys going to the park and the beach. So we have experiences that will allow for her to enjoy and, her life. And I think that in choosing that direction freed me up from frustration,
Mm.
freed me up from, hurt. So I think that power of choice, if you exercise that, I think it will allow you to shift in difficult times. I think it'll allow for you to shift and how you respond and react to it.
Amazing. Listening to you talk about this is absolutely beautiful to the air. I'm really grateful. Thank you for staying strong. Thank you for standing up for yourself. Thank you for standing up for your daughter. Thank you for standing up for everything that concerns you. Like I am grateful for you and for
Thank you
everything.
so much.
You're welcome. So we are calling it a wrap from here. But before I go, I would like to ask two additional questions. The first one is, do you still have plan on doing anything aside from speaking in the future? I know that you're into coaching and all of that, but do you still have plan doing something aside speaking or with speaking in the future along the way?
Uh, d- to do in outside of speaking, you mean?
Yes.
outside, sure, there are other things. I'm looking at doing a project with my son. I'm excited to be doing that with him. So we're eventually going to get that started because I work with a former student athlete, as I mentioned. I love to pull together programs for high school student athletes, preparing them for college athletics. I think that's important to be able to provide some resources for them. And then, of course, I want to travel and do other things outside of my other interests as real estate. But just the opportunity to share and to be and to do and engage with family and friends is absolutely top of mind for me as well.
All right. Thank you so much. So, last question, and we call it a day. What is your Ashwan advice? What is your Ashwan advice for anyone ready to venture into public speaking industry today?
I would say go for it. I would say go out and get started. I would also say, as I said earlier, the world needs to hear your story.
Hmm.
And I can't, as I said earlier, I can't do what you are called to do. So you are needed. Don't
Hmm.
think that it's saturated and there's so many speakers out there. No, no, no.
Just
You
do your
have
thing.
you have life experiences that have taught you different skills, taught you to overcome things. The world needs to hear that. It is okay that it's not perfect at first, but lean into wanting to learn to do it better. Lean into wanting to get educated about how to do it. So, my advice would be to just jump in head first, and it will come as you continue to speak and to share your story. Oh,
Thank
and
you
I have
so
one
much.
last thing, if I may.
Oh, oh, please, please go on.
Yes, mentioned it earlier, but give yourself grace. It's not going to be perfect at first. Don't stop. Keep working hard. It will
Hmm.
come to you. The
Hmm.
journey's not going to look like you think it's going to look, but in the end, all things work together for your good.
Hmm. Hmm. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Thank you very much, Laurie Curtis, for honoring our invite. For our listeners out there, this is Laurie Curtis, and she's just telling us everything you need to know to get started into the public speaking world. Thank you so much, Laurie, for honoring our invite. I hope if we call you another day, you will honor our invite.
Absolutely. Thank you. It's been an honor to be here, and thank you for the invitation.
You're welcome, and all thanks to Dr. Tina D. Lewis for this collaboration on this podcast session. Also, I am very very inspired by your story, and I know you will have a lot more in your book. So, for our listeners out there, if they want to get your book, how can they get it?
Sure, they can go to my website, and that's lauriegcurtis.com. And I'll spell that LAURIE,
Okay.
G as in governor, Curtis,
Okay.
CURTIS.com.
So, for anybody that wants to order your book, they can go to lauriejcortis.com.
That's correct.
Thank you so much for your time. We are really grateful. We are really happy to have you. We are going to leave links to your social media platforms, your social media handles, and your website in the description. Thank you so much for honoring
Wonderful.
our invite. Please have a great day.
Thank you so much. Take care.
Yes, you too.
And that's it for our guest for today, Laurie G. Curtis. You can find out more about her on all social media platforms at Laurie G. Curtis. And you can as well purchase a book or know or find out more about her on our website, lauriegcurtis.com. I repeat, lauriegcurtis.com. Don't forget, this is Write and Speak Better podcast, where we help writers to improve their writing skills and help speakers to speak more confidently via tips, tricks, and interview sections from veterans in the space. Please do it to give a follow and subscribe. Please give it a 5-star and share this to all your friends out there. Thank you so much. If you want to collaborate with me, I am Olaleko Mandela at every social media platforms, or you can send a message to olalekomandela@gmail.com and I will be glad to answer you. Thank you.